Hello, and welcome to the Going Alcohol Free podcast. I'm Lise, I'm your host. Welcome, everybody. We are recording this live here on YouTube, and I am just going to make sure that we're live. Okay, so just bear with me as I do this really quick. I'm just looking on YouTube just to make sure. Okay, yes, says that I'm live. Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you for bearing with me quickly. All right. So today we are going to be answering a question that one of you submitted, and I just want to tell you I am appreciating you guys submitting your questions. And I'm going to continue to answer them here on the podcast. So today, I know that this is a really big question that many of you all have. So I think it's going to be something that all of you are going to be interested in hearing. This question is about weight loss. And before we get into the question, let me just share how this episode will go. Oh, hello. Thank you for being here. So how this episode will go. So I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have in the chat. So if you have any questions that you would like for me to answer today here on the fly, you can put them in the chat. And also, how you submit questions to me is there's a form down below, or there will be a form down below after the podcast ends, and you could submit your anonymous questions that way as well. And then lastly, I found something online that I have to share with you that might help you with your alcohol-free journey. So that's how this episode will go. So thanks for being here. Okay, so let me just read this question. And again, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat. So, hi there. One of my big motivations to quit drinking is to lose weight. I've heard people say they drop pounds after quitting drinking, but I'm curious about your experience as well. Did you notice weight loss when you quit drinking? And if so, how long did it take to see changes? Thanks for sharing your insights each week. Well, you are so welcome. And thank you for submitting this question, because I know that so many of you all really are thinking about quitting drinking because of the weight loss that you think you might experience. So let's talk about what happened, and let's talk. So I want to share my full experience, and then I want to give you a little bit of scientific reasons as well. And you know me, I'm not really into the big scientific stuff, but I did really want to understand more about this to share with you about what you can expect. So what I did was one of the things that I did was, as I was preparing for this episode, was I went back and I looked at my weight every single year since I quit drinking. And also on the date that I quit drinking, what was my weight? You see, I track my weight every single day. I step on the scale. I don't make it mean anything about me, but I do. I've been tracking it since 2017, and I rarely miss a day. And I just think of it as data. That's it. So I have data to provide you with my exact results. So I quit drinking on November 1st, 2020. And I have not had one sip of alcohol since that date. Not one sip. Not a sip of wine, not a sip of wine cooler, nothing. I just have no desire for it. So so I looked at my weight and my age, because I think both of these do come into play. And listen, guys, if you are listening, we're going to go into perimenopause and menopause today, stuff around that, because I think that also factors into my story and my weight loss story and journey. So just, I'm sorry for sharing a lot of details about this, but I know it's going to help the women out there. Okay. When I quit drinking, I was 47 and a half, about a little over 47 and a half years old. Um, my weight. Okay. So I don't want to really share my weight, but I want to share how much I gained and lost and things like that. So if you want to know my weight, just write in, or if you really want to know the weight, then put it down below. Like, you want to know my weight, I'll tell you my weight. But I am an open book. But I just felt like I didn't want to trigger any people around the actual number. Okay. So I looked at the date that I stopped drinking, what my weight was, which was in November 1st, 2020. Then I looked at what I weighed on January 1st, 2021. So January 1st, 2021, and I basically weighed the same. So I did not lose any weight in 2 months. So 60 days after quitting drinking, I did not lose any weight. No weight. And I was surprised. I remember being surprised because I had a little belly and I thought that it would go away. I'm like, I'm not drinking anymore. The weight's going to totally go away. It didn't. That might be surprising to you. Now, again, I want to share the science behind why I think this is happening. So, for me, I did not lose any weight. Was I surprised? Absolutely. So that was on January 1st, 2021. Now, I want to share all of my weight since I quit drinking. So what will be surprising for you is to hear my weight on or how much I lost 1 year later. So I lost when I weighed myself on January 1st, 2022, 1 year later, I lost 7 pounds. But that was because in August of 2022, I really made a conscious effort to lose weight. So it wasn't just me going along with my life. I actually started to run every single day, and the weight was really easy for me to lose at that time. Okay. So at that time, I was 47 and a half. So I was 48 and a half, 49, I guess, 49. And because I'm 52 right now, and my birthday was in February. So I'm 52 right now. So I lost 7 pounds during that year, but only because starting in July, I really started to run to lose weight. I made a conscious effort. Now, so that was when I was 49. When I was 50, or about to turn 50 in 2023, so on January 1st, 2023, from 2022, I gained 3 pounds back. So 3 pounds back I gained. And that was when I was 50. And I can tell you that perimenopause was in full play during this time period. So I'm still 5 pounds, about 4 pounds less than when I quit drinking. Okay, because I stayed the same, then I lost some, then I gained some back in 2023. In 2024, on January 1st, 2024, I was down 1 pound. So from the time that I stopped drinking to January 1st, 2024, I was down about 6 pounds. Okay. So over that time frame, I was down about 6 pounds. But remember, that was a conscious effort that I had made. It wasn't just me going about my life, eating regular and doing the things that I wanted to do. But what I want to share with what happened from January 1st, 2024 to January 1st, 2025 is mind blowing. I gained 15 pounds. 15 pounds from January 1st, 2024, so last year to this year, I gained 15 pounds. But I also hit menopause. So post-menopause. So menopause, I hit November of last year in 2024. So I'm post-menopause now. I'm 52. And I gained 15 pounds in 1 year. Now, let me just tell you one thing that is so interesting is that last year, I started this podcast in 2024. And do you remember, if you guys are listeners, avid listeners, last year, in January, I did a water fast for 72 hours. Do you remember that? I talked about it on the podcast. I gave a daily update because it was during dry January of 2024 when I was doing the 31 episodes in 31 days to help you all do dry January. And I lost, I think, about 8 pounds during that time frame. But you have to remember, when you're fasting, a lot of that is just water weight. It's not actual fat loss. But what's interesting, what happened after that was my weight bounced back up to where I was before the water fast. And then it just kept climbing, and climbing and climbing, which was so fascinating for me. Now, there's a couple of things that I think are going on here that I want to share the details with you guys. In 2021, okay, so in 2020, when I stopped drinking alcohol, I started to drink caffeine again. So I did start to drink caffeine again, Diet Coke, or Diet Pepsi, I should say. I used to be a Diet Coke drinker, but I went to Diet Pepsi. So I started to drink diet sodas in 2020 after I quit drinking alcohol. Or maybe it was in anyway, right around that time, 2020, 2021, I started to drink Diet Pepsi. I was drinking like 6 or 7 a day. And I had previously quit drinking a couple years before, but I picked it back up again. I'm like, I'm not drinking alcohol. I might as well drink something that I enjoy. But I noticed that my hot flashes were like, I was having a lot of hot flashes back in 2021. So again, perimenopause, probably. Well, then I think, and I mentioned this on the podcast, and I forget which episode, but I'll have to go back and look which episode. But my dog died. One of my dogs died very quickly, and I stopped drinking alcohol. I'm sorry, I stopped drinking caffeine in November of 2021. I just immediately stopped it. And it all was triggered from his death. I'm like, wow, he can be here one day and then 3 days later, he's gone. He died very quickly. He got sick and he died very quickly. And it made me think a lot about my health. And I'm like, okay, why am I drinking this soda that I know is not good for me? I know it's not good for me. So I cold turkey stopped, and I haven't had one sip of soda since that day. So when I make up my mind about something, I make up my mind about it. And so I haven't had any caffeine since November of 2021. And I noticed that my hot flashes stopped pretty much, almost like went away. Every now and again, there's just a little bit, but hardly any. So that was in 2021 when I quit drinking the caffeine. So then my partner and I started to eat ice cream. We started to go to the ice cream store and make that an experience because we don't go to the bars. We don't drink alcohol. He doesn't drink at all either. And I started to eat ice cream. Now, as you know, and thank you all for being here, by the way, I appreciate you guys. As you know, from 2022 to 2023, I gained 3 pounds. 2023 to 2024, I lost 1 pound. But then last year, I gained 15 pounds. And I'm not drinking alcohol. I didn't change how I was eating, with the exception of ice cream. And I've mentioned this on the podcast before. So my partner and I, over the past few years, started to go to the ice cream store, not buy ice cream at the store, but go to the ice cream store and get ice cream. And I know that part of my weight gain was because of that. Sugar definitely impacts your body, your metabolism. And what's interesting is that all of my fat in menopause dropped from like my fat shifted on my body. It went from upper body, so it was like all like even, I was proportionate. But my fat dropped from my upper body and went to my lower body. And you will notice this if you're in perimenopause or menopause. You might notice this, that it seems like I literally dropped a bra size, but my weight dropped, all my fat moved to my lower body and my belly. And they call this menopause belly for a reason. And it's because your estrogen levels are decreasing. And think about men. They have a lot of testosterone in their body. Where do where do you store your weight at when you gain weight? Typically, men hold it in their belly and in their back. Well, guess what? That's what happened to me too. I was holding on to weight, fat in my belly and in my backside, my back, my butt, my thighs, and everything. Again, I think this was from, obviously, it's not from the alcohol, but it's from the hormone changes and from also overeating ice cream. So not only when we went to go get ice cream, not only when we would go get ice cream, I started off getting like a medium. Then I went to slowly over time, I went to getting a large. Then slowly over time, I went to getting a pint. And then I would get a quart of ice cream. Now, let me just tell you one thing. This is not emotional eating. I was not emotional eating like I used to emotional drink. I just like the way that mint chocolate chip ice cream tastes. You could put Rocky Road or pistachio or anything in front of me. I would not eat it. I mean, I would eat a little bit of it, but not a whole quart of ice cream. So, it just became like a habit over the last year or two, I would say, because it was gradual. So anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is that for you, if you are considering losing weight, you are probably, if you quit drinking, okay, you're probably not going to see weight loss unless you have a lot of fat storages on your body. And if you do, there's nothing wrong with you. I just want to let you know that having fat on your body is a normal thing to have on your body. We're supposed to have fat on our body. Like that's what we're supposed to have, is fat on our body. Fat is just energy. It's just energy that's waiting to be released. So most likely you're not going to see weight loss. And especially if you're in perimenopause or menopause, you're not going to see much weight loss unless you have a lot of fat on your body. Then you might. Now, one of the things that I've been doing lately, and I just want to share this too, and then I want to go into one little scientific piece as to why you probably won't lose weight when you quit drinking. But over the last 90 days, I've lost 6 pounds of fat. Now I know I know I've lost more than that, but I've gained some muscle. But it's basically following 6 baby steps that I researched and put together. And I'm not sure if many of you guys know this, but I used to help women lose weight when I was in my 40s. And then I stopped doing that. But so I've actually dropped 6 pounds. Now, is it easy? It's not hard to do, but you have to be diligent and consistent about it. And if you want to quit drinking alcohol and also lose weight, and if you're in perimenopause or menopause, then there are certain steps that you're going to want to take. 6 holistic steps. You don't need HRT. You don't need prescription drugs or anything like that. You can lose the weight if you want to quit drinking and you're in perimenopause or menopause. you can do it. But let me just share one more thing. One more thing about the scientific reason why I don't think I lost any weight when I stopped drinking. So here's why. There is a woman out there called Glucose Goddess, and she's done the research on this. And so I just wanted to share the research about what she says. Okay. So just bear with me on this. I want to read what she says. It's just a couple of sentences. Alcohol. Okay. So when you're drinking alcohol with food, okay. So alcohol can lower glucose spikes. Glucose is your blood sugar. So alcohol can lower glucose spikes when paired with food because the liver prioritizes breaking down alcohol over managing glucose. So instead of it spiking glucose, it actually is like trying to process the alcohol in the liver. And so, however, though, this is a fake benefit as it strains the liver and disrupts its normal functions. Okay, so what does this mean? So I want you to think about this. When you eat, let's just say you're not drinking, okay? So you're not drinking, and when you eat, and especially if you're eating carbs, your glucose or your blood sugar spikes. When your blood sugar spikes, what happens? Insulin rushes in to lower the glucose and to process it and to store that blood sugar, to store that sugar as energy, either to use it or to store it. And if you're not using the energy at that time, it stores it as fat on your body. So that's what's happening when you're not drinking alcohol. If you're overeating food for your body, if you're taking in food, excess food, and your body doesn't necessarily need that food right now or need that energy, it stores it as energy on your body, which is fat. It's supposed to do that. But if you're drinking and you're eating, what happens is your blood sugar does not really spike. So therefore, the insulin doesn't rush in to lower that blood sugar. And the role of insulin is to stop the fat burning, store energy on your body that you're not using, and to store it for later. And if insulin isn't rushing in, then your body can still be in the fat burning mode. So that's why it made sense to me it totally made sense why I didn't lose weight. Now it does. At the time it didn't. I didn't understand the science behind it. But insulin's role, just remember this, insulin's role is to insulate your body, is to store fat, to stop the fat burning mode. And if you're not spiking your glucose, then you're not spiking your insulin. Therefore, you're not storing that energy on your body. So that totally made sense to me. And I'm hoping that I explained this in a way that everybody could understand. But that I realized because that's probably what happened to me. But here's one more thing I just want to share, though. One more thing I want to share is that when I was drinking, I was not a big eater. I just wanted to drink. So when we would go out to eat, I just wanted to drink my wine. I would hardly touch my food, or I would order like a salad or chicken or something because I just wanted to drink. I wanted to drink wine. I didn't want to eat a lot. And then when I stopped drinking and I just drank water, well, then, the bread comes and the appetizers and things like that. So I was probably starting to eat a little bit more food as well when I stopped drinking. So I'm hoping that is helpful for you all to understand that you may or may not experience weight loss. And if you don't experience weight loss when you quit drinking or when you take a break from drinking or whatever, this could be the reason why. So thank you for being here and for listening to that. I do have one more thing I want to share with you all, and it's something that I found online. It was like an ad that was served to me, and I just want to share it with you guys. And if anybody has tried this, I want you to comment down below or comment or send me an email or fill out the form down below and tell me about it. But I have to share this with you guys. It's called an anti-alcohol bracelet. An anti-alcohol bracelet. Now, I don't drink, so I don't need to buy this, but I just wanted to share with you that it's a magnetic bracelet that you wear, and it slowly over time reduces your desire for alcohol. Now, if anybody has tried it, please let us know. We really want to hear about this. But it's from Glame, Glame. GlameInternational.fr is the website. And I'll put it down below in the description and in the show notes. But that's where you can buy it. It's not that expensive. It's like $40. And it has like over 1,000 reviews. So I just wanted to just share that with you guys and see if any of you are interested in checking it out. And if you've tried it, please let us know so that we can, share the news with each other. That's what we're here for, is to just help each other out. And I'm just hoping that my stories and the things that I've done and what I'm experiencing helps, and what I have experienced helps you all as well. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. And I'm going to, we'll go live again next week with another question. And hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If you're enjoying this format, again, this is recorded live. So if you're enjoying this format, please give this a thumbs up, or consider writing a review on podcast or your favorite podcast player. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next week. Bye for now.